We create concepts and legends. Innovation and progression are in our DNA. From the sky to the surf, we are setting the tone, creating history with a future. We are true kiteboarding. We are Duotone.
Is it like a pervert?
And we're back, GKA Kite World Cup here in the beautiful beach of Tarifa, the Tarifa Kite Pro. In the set now, I have a couple of beautiful ladies here on the sofa with me. We have Mika Sol and Natalie Lambrecht. Both of them a little bit shy. We're going to have some fun with this interview. So girls, how do you feel being in Tarifa, enjoying these beautiful beaches?
It's really nice. It's not been so much wind lately, so it's been a lot of waiting. But I'm glad to be here, and hopefully we get the last 2 days some conditions kicking in so we can finish and get some results. Mika?
Yeah, it's been a really nice time here, and hopefully in the next few days we're going to get to enjoy ourselves on the water, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to finish the competition.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thermal winds, it's been Tarifa's been testing us. Normally this is one of the most windiest places in Europe and definitely in the world. Obviously not this week, competition is on. First 2 days didn't have any wind. Day 3 we were able to get through the single elimination of the strapless discipline. Today we moved over to the twin tip freestyle. Some of the guys have been able to get out there, still waiting to see you girls on the water. Tomorrow, even though tomorrow does look like one of the best days, a little bit of cloud, but I know Tarifa is going to prepare and it's not going to leave us hanging.
No, hopefully not. We were here last year as well, and the conditions kind of were the same, but in the end it all kicked in and it was a great event.
Yeah, it definitely was a great event. This year is going to be good as well. So Natalie, you originally Swedish. You live in Egypt from what I understand, so you're used to quite flat conditions. Tarifa, if anything, is definitely not flat. It's quite choppy water here. How are you dealing with these kind of conditions?
Well, it depends where I ride in Egypt. We have some chops, but it's just from the other direction. So I'm kind of used to the chops a little bit more than waves. For example, in Gran Canaria, I was having trouble finding the timing. Here, I just need to find the right chop to do something at least.
Yeah, it's all about finding that right moment. Also, Tarifa, I think for the first time, this is the first time we've had a joint event. So we've had all the different disciplines of the kiting world here underneath one roof. So having the freestylers and then also the strapless crew, both women and men's division. You guys are on the freestyle side. Is it cool to have all of those people here under one roof and you kind of bounce off of each other, both on and off the water?
You mean the strapless people? Well, people.
Those guys.
Those guys. It's actually the first time I've watched strapless freestyle live, like on the beach actually. Like in Alguna, there's not many people riding actually more than just up and down and doing some...
a little bit of the lawnmower.
Yeah, the twirl. No, I don't know what to call it when you...
Yeah. And did you enjoy it? First time for you seeing strapless live. You have some of the best guys and girls out there. Carla Herrera coming in first position on a single elimination. Then you have Airlines Cosolino, who was putting on a very impressive show. What are your views of that discipline of the sport?
I think it looks really cool. I can't imagine how to do like I would say 3-1-3 without boots. It's completely crazy, but yeah, it made me want to actually try it. Once maybe.
That's what we want. The idea of the GKA Tour, it is one of the industry tour, is to make all the combinations so all of you start trying the different disciplines, learning from each other, and in the end just having a good time with this beautiful sport that is kiting. So, going on, talking to you girls, some of the most progressive and pushing the envelope on women kiteboarding, the girls have come on, especially over the last year. I think the level has taken another jump. We had the likes of Gisela Pulido, Bruna Cagier, and Carolina Winkowska. The unhooked movement started coming up, and now all of you girls are doing pretty much all the handle pass move the guys are, and also going for those double handle passes. Now, how is in your view, how has it gone so far so soon?
Well, I think it's thanks to Mika.
There you go. That's what I wanted to hear.
No, really, she's pushing and inspiring a lot of women that we can do it too. And for sure, when I see her, for example, in the Brazil Tarifa Lagoon, like that's just like I see her going bigger than most of the guys who are like maybe not riding, you know, as much as well. But it's really cool to see, and she's definitely an inspiration.
Don't get red here, Mika. Don't get red. I mean, Mika, without a doubt, that is true. You know, you are pushing the ladies, and you know, from a very young age, the skill sets you have and some of the moves you're putting out there. As mentioned to a couple of the guys, one of the things that I want to see in future events is a mixed format where the girls go up against the guys, and there's going to be a lot of broken hearts on and off the water.
Yeah, hopefully that will be able to happen, but maybe in a few years when we catch up to them, and let's see who made that.
I mean, you're not too far catching up. I mean, you know, seeing especially a couple of you now, you're going into the, you know, double handle pass, the, you know, the 540s or the 7s. I've seen you especially, you know, landing a couple of those Mode 5s, really stylish, probably one of the highest scoring tricks to be landed in the competition so far. Talking to Pipa, you know, Pipa is also a balls to the wall and just goes for it when it's strong wind. I think there's a very fine line in between talent and craziness. That's
I think
a good way to explain her.
Yeah, Pippa's really on borderline of one of those two. I'm not really sure which one, but I really think she's really amazing. Like, it's either she goes full on or she's like, I don't know, it's like nuts.
Yeah,
I don't really understand her.
I think you know guys like Ruben Lenton and a lot of the Dutchies, they have that craziness. I think it's in the system, and you can really see it with them. But like for yourself, you know, the double handle pass movement on the male side of the sport, the judges are now really rewarding quality over quantity, not all this spin to win.
Yeah.
Is that what you girls want as well?
Yeah, I think that's a good. Well, I think that's pretty good as well. But they're actually really focusing on like the kite position and like the execution of the trick more than like how many spins you can do or how many passes you can do, basically. And I really appreciate that, because like the girls who can't do that many passes, but we're really trying to make our tricks look better with the grab, or like make it look at least a bit higher and get more power into it as well. So with that, it's basically a bit better.
It definitely is a big better. I mean, we've seen the difference over this last past year. You know, you're one of the main pushers for this movement, and you know, girls like yourself, Natalie, coming up and, you know, admiring people like Mika, and obviously all of you girls looking at the guys and seeing where they're taking the sport. But you have to give it your own personal thing. Every single one of you has that different style and a different perspective. And I think that's one of the really good things about the water sports in general, is you can express yourself on the water, show to the people how they can enjoy. And you know, in a location like this in Tarifa, in front of the Bibo Beach House Water Sports, we just had Danny Garcia here, seeing, you know, everybody come together and being able to enjoy that as one, let's say, big family. I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. I really like all the girls have so much different styles. Like some of them go with more technique and some of them go with power. For me personally, I try to mix the two of them together so that I get good execution, but I also get good power as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. You definitely get good power. So Natalie, a couple of questions. You know, you come from Sweden, living in Egypt. So obviously, I presume you have a big water background of the family. You know, in the northern part of Europe, there, you know, water is a big part of it. The Vikings, that whole kind of country, that big part of the culture. How come Egypt? I mean, yeah, beautiful location for kiting. Now we understand your skill sets, but you know, how come you went there?
Well, actually, I went there when I was 3 years old, and it was because of my dad starting hotels and stuff like that. And yeah, from there he was like doing water polo ever since he was small, so he put me in the water directly. But I didn't start kiting because of him. I started kiting because one of my babysitters had a boyfriend who was a kite instructor, and then he was like, okay, come on, I want to hang out with my boyfriend a bit more, so come to the beach with me. She's like, we have to teach Natalie kiting so I can hang out with him more. And yeah, then after that I learned kiting, and I
think all of us are lucky to be able to say that we kind of can call this a job, you know, like it's definitely better than sitting in an office, and to be able to travel the world, go into beautiful locations, meeting different people, tasting the different cultures around the globe, makes us, let's say, bigger and better people, makes us mature more, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's actually my first, I would say, proper year of actually giving it a try, and I'm loving every single second of it.
We can see, the smile comes out in between the nerves and the fun you're having here on the sofa. You can definitely see that's the smile we want to see. And I mean, that is what it's all about. It is about the fun. It is about the lifestyle. We don't, there's stressful moments, competitions, sometimes they can get to you. You do have that pressure, the sponsors, your parents, we'll get to your mother in a minute. All of those different things really can work for you and work against you. And a couple words we've been bringing up is about the positive and negative pressures, and how, as professional athletes like yourself, how you have to deal with that. Like, we pretty much had to drag you here on the sofa to get an interview out of you. So yeah, now it's not that bad. The damage is done. You've already done it, and I think you just have to work through it and get past those barriers. Talking about barriers, the wind here in Tarifa, this is my hometown, and I am very angry at the moment because the wind hasn't been as good as it usually is, but we are very sure Tarifa will not let us down. So now it's time to make fun of you. So, okay, talking about, your mum, as we mentioned, I got her in my ear here, so she's asking me a couple of questions. Mika, you're one of the youngest girls on tour, but you are probably one of the highest ranked, current 2-time world champion, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I know you're going to correct me. And how do you deal with the schooling? So I've done a little bit of homework of myself because I knew this moment was going to come. So from what I understand, you have to study 2 hours, that's
online.
one and 2 online every single day. You have to check out once a week. You have kind of an overview. I like the smile, obviously there's truth here. And then they do a report back to the parents to make sure that still is happening, so that online school happens. I love this is pressure. And with that, you are allowed to travel the beautiful globe, have fun doing the sport that you love. Get a notebook, write this down, and then with that you can continue. So, am I right there, Mika?
Yeah, I think you got it pretty good there.
So, in reality, to be able to do, with the technical advantages we have these days, to be able to do the schooling online, so, as a professional athlete can still, do your sport and is still able to do that. That must be a huge advantage, but obviously it's a lot of extra work off of the water, right?
Yeah, I think you have to be pretty self-disciplined, but I'm still working on that, But yeah, hopefully in the next few years I'll be able to graduate and not have to have that pressure anymore. And yeah, I don't know, but I think it's really good. Like some guys, they don't really get to train all year long because they have school and stuff, or like university. And I think that I'm pretty fortunate that I'll be able to just kite whenever I want and still go back and do school when I have the chance to. And yeah.
I think it's important. I mean, the first things in life is education. With education, everything else comes along, and it's important to keep that schooling involved. And like you say, very fortunate yourself to be able to do that. And then we move on to the next topic. This is going to be even more fun. You have a person like Fabio Ingrosso. I mean, he's a scary guy. I would not mess with Fabio myself. And he, it must be great having a person of his experience. He's an industry in himself. Had that kite camp in Sri Lanka, one of the biggest, kite skiing names in the industry. So he has all the experience. It must be great having a coach like him, but it must be great because there's also the good sides and the pushing sides where he has to keep you in line, and seeing how he looks after you. How do you deal with having a coach like that? I told you it was pressure.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. But no, yeah, I think it's pretty important as well. Like, he really helps me on and off the water with everything. Like, not sometimes we do.
I can get him behind the camera to be even worse.
Yeah, for sure. No, like he really helps me and the rest of my group as well, like Maxime and some of the other guys. And yeah, we all have like workouts together so that we don't on the water we don't break or something. But he also helps me mentally, physically prepare for competitions, and yeah, he's really helpful.
I mean, two super important aspects as professional athletes, like we're saying, the mental and the physical side. You know, both. Natalie, I saw you in the gym the other day, and it looked like you were doing a little bit of yoga. So there's a really big movement also in the women's kiting. Talking to Rita a couple of days ago on the yoga side, I think, you know, flexibility and strength is a super important part, and, you know, obviously to be able to have that kind of help off of the water must make it better on the water.
Yeah, like I struggled with a knee injury last year, so I realized how much more important it was with the training off the water, and also like now before the competition, then I really enjoy doing yoga because I don't want to tire my muscles too much. So then I see it as the perfect thing to keep on moving and still like get your mind on something else than just competing, because you want to like kind of concentrate on something else rather than stress about competition.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be too stressed though. It's super important to find the things that work for you, to be able to get into your sweet spot and be able to enjoy, you know, what you're doing, because in the end it is all about fun, and that is what we want to see. And I definitely can see the smiles you guys have out there. I think it's super important, and definitely the smiles when I've been asking you those questions are even more priceless. But yeah, I mean, like we say, I mean, Mika Sol, she is, you know, our superstar here, and even though we do give her a lot of push and a lot of pressure, and I know, you know, the likes of Tommy from Duotone also, you know, put you on the spot the same as I've done here in the 2020 meeting. It's, you know, it's those things. In the end, it's the same like back in the day when I was competing. I had the likes of Jaime, and they come to us and they give us a slap when we're doing something wrong, but they'd also give you a pat on the back when you do it right. And I think it's really important to have the support of figures like for yourself, like Fabio, and also your coach there, Natalie. I think you guys are really lucky to have that kind of support.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot. It takes a lot of the pressure off when someone is actually telling you what you should do on the water, that rather than you have to stress about that as well. So it like lifts you up a little bit with having a coach.
No, it definitely does. And Mika, so you live in Brazil a lot of the time, and obviously now with a lot of the traveling becoming, you know, one of the most influential women kiteboarding, do you get to go home much? Because I mean, Preá, which is where we have the strapless event, that's a beautiful place to be at.
Yeah, but I actually moved to Tarifa 2 years ago, so I don't live in Preá anymore.
Excuse me, my mistake. That's it.
No, but Preá was a really nice place. It wasn't the ideal place for freestyle, but it's also why in like stronger winds I can do quite well, because I just learned there like most of my tricks. So now if I go in stronger or like choppy water, I won't struggle that much, but I'm not that practicing it anymore, so it's still that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see the difference. You know, like this beautiful location of Tarifa, a lot of the champions of all the windsurfing and of kiting have come out of here. And I think it's also because of the diversity. Like, it's all very good to have, 9 prime perfect conditions in Kauipe, where you land tricks that you never land before, but you do have to go to those not so perfect locations to be able to make sure that you can do it on the moment, adapt to the conditions you have, and in the end, that's what makes a world champion or a dual world champion like yourself.
Of course. Well, we have a lot of training. We go to many different locations every year, which does not allow me to be home that much, unfortunately. So that also is a bit of a struggle, because I don't see my parents or my brother that much, and maybe only being 14, I also need that on the other side. Yeah,
of course you do. I mean, family is super important, but we try and make a big family here. I can always see you have the support of all your teammates there, but for the good and for the bad, that's what we want to do here at the GKA World Tour. And it's such a privilege to have you at your young age, the performances that you're putting on and off the water, as much pressure that we do. Honestly, you're in a world of your own, and congratulations for what you're doing and how you're pushing the sport forward.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So there you have it, girls. I think we've pressured them enough. They've been enjoying this interview a lot. I can see it, family members and sisters behind the camera making a lot of fun. So yeah, like I said, Mika Sol and Natalie Lamberg, both some of the best kiters out there. Hopefully tomorrow we will see you on the water as well, because it looks like the conditions will be even better. So yeah, we're going to be going to a couple of short commercials breaks. I can see Mika's going to say goodbye and end off this interview.
Yes, and if we're not competing tomorrow, we will for sure be back on here, to both of us, and maybe we'll give you a little show as well.
That's what we want to hear. So, okay, so with us, Natalie Lambrecht, Mika Sol, and I'm Josie Ashland. We'll go to a short commercial break and hopefully be back with perfect 20 knots here at the Tarifa Kite Pro 2019.
We create concepts and legends. Innovation and progression are in our DNA. From the sky to the surf, we are setting the tone. Creating history with a future. We are true kiteboarding. We are Duotone.
Okay, so that's it. Unfortunately for day 4, the winds have not prevailed, but I can hear the beautiful eagle songs of Hotel California there in the back. We're getting romantic. So we are looking forward to a beautiful day of wind tomorrow. Forecast is looking good. There's a little bit more of cloud there. Hopefully that will mean we're getting a little bit more cold air, so that will give the thermal a little bit of a push, and we will be able to do as many heats as possible, and we'll be able to end this Tarifa Kite Pro, the GKA Kite World Tour here 2019, and get the scores that we need and be able to get a crowning of our champions. So once again, thank you very much for being here on the stream and watching this event. I'm Josie Ashler, been really good, really enjoyed a lot of these interviews. Hope you enjoyed them as much as I did, and we will see you tomorrow for day 5 of the Tarifa Kite Pro.